What's up, everyone, and welcome here back to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. In hour number one, you heard the annoying moment of the week as well as lead and the top dog of the week. The annoying moment of the week proudly brought to you by Carvel DeWitt every Friday to start the show off at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, followed by lead, which stands for Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. And you got to hear that with Juanita Ward. And, of course, the top dog of the week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding every Friday around 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And now we have a special, and we separated the videos here. So you had the trio of segments in the first video here on Friday, and now we have this video in and of itself, so it can be shared many a times. And I think it's good to have a separate video so your father, BJ, can share it where he wants to share it as well.
Yeah.
So we have Bryce Zicaro here with us. Bryce is a pitcher in our community of Central and Upstate New York. He's had the opportunity to represent CNS as well as the Northeast Pride and so many different places and different events that he's been out to. So really today is going to be a multi-layered look at your future, God willing, collegiate pitcher and professional baseball pitcher. And I would love to go back and look at this video someday and be talking about you on the Pirates or the Phillies or the Yankees or the Diamondbacks or the Brewers or whatever it may be, and going back to, whatever you end up being, pitcher, first base, right field. But I look forward to this video being a really cool thing to look back on when you have those moments in your future.
Definitely, yeah.
So Bryce Zicaro here with us. He's been on the show plenty of times. This is the first time he's been in studio. So welcome to actually physically sitting here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You wore good gear. You're looking fresh in the CNS gear. And so I guess my question is, where's my hat? But let's go into CNS. And last year, obviously, a very strange year due to the pandemic. Bring me into having to suffer the loss of something you couldn't control.
Yeah, I mean, going into it, we didn't really know what was going to happen. We knew that the pandemic was kind of, starting, and we knew that COVID was going around, and we went through practice, we did all of our stuff, and then we got the news that our season got canceled, and we didn't really know what was going to happen from there. We didn't know if we were going to have a season next year or, what was going to happen. So we just kind of played it by ear, and we all kept working and kept grinding and kept working out and doing our thing.
Not knowing, going all the way up to the season and not having a clear answer, and then finding out that you weren't going to have it. Bring me through that process of, what to some people might feel like getting up for the letdown. You try and you try and you wait and you don't know and you wait and you don't know, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey guys, there's not going to be a year.
Yeah, it's really just about staying focused and not really thinking about it too much and keep doing your thing, and whatever happens happens.
How did you deal with the adversity of losing a season?
It was tough for me. Being a freshman, gonna play varsity hopefully, it was tough. But I feel bad for the seniors that lost their senior year, and some of the guys that were thinking about going to college, they weren't able to get in front of those coaches, and that's what sucked.
For you to do it, and like you said, to be an underclassman, you have time. You have the gift of time. For the seniors, for the people trying to get their film out, trying to get their tape out, trying to get recruited, having that last push or maybe a first push, how bad did you feel for them knowing that, if the situation was reversed, you could have been there? I mean, how bad did you feel for them, and how do you think you would have handled it if a pandemic happened when you were a senior?
I mean, I felt very bad. Those guys played baseball all throughout their childhood. And, to miss a season because of COVID, it's ridiculous. You never would have thought of that growing up, that I wasn't going to be able to play my senior year at CNS. And if I was in their shoes, I don't know what I would do, honestly. I love baseball so much, and for some of those guys, it was their last time playing baseball, and they didn't get to play.
Yeah. So for you, Bryce, I know that you worked diligently to be prepared, be ready, keep yourself fresh. You didn't take the pandemic lightly by any stretch of the imagination. You really got on the road almost immediately.
Absolutely.
So bring me into that and let everybody know that even though you didn't have a season, the fact that you continued to play baseball and tried to find places to go.
Yeah, I mean, through travel ball, I played through the pandemic. I played through all that stuff. I had to go through the regulations. We had to wear masks when we played. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And it wasn't fun. It didn't feel like a regular season. And especially with COVID, the cases are rising during what we were playing. We didn't know if we were going to get canceled. We didn't know if, we wake up tomorrow morning to a call and they're saying that we have to get shut down. And we don't know.
You didn't know really at all. None of us have, for the last year and a half, known a lot of anything. You're a kid, so how are you seeing the world? Because as a 35-year-old, I'm young, and at the same time, I've seen a lot of different stuff. How are you handling this as a teenager, just seeing the world just stop, start, stop again, not know what to do, stop again, start again? How have you handled that through the eyes of being a young kid?
I felt like I handled it pretty well. I kind of stayed focused on, I knew what I had to do. I knew that I still had to, play baseball. I knew I still had to, get seen and, get good looks with colleges and stuff. And even that was hard because colleges were restricted from watching you guys play.
Yeah.
They couldn't come and watch. So it was really from, coaches reaching out to college coaches and kind of guys being a middleman and helping the kids out. But, as a young kid, it was definitely tough.
What do you think you learned the most going through this pandemic? Not just about sports, but about yourself?
Probably how valuable time is. Seeing the seniors get their senior year taken away was tough. I never would have wanted that to happen to anybody. And, I hope that it never happens to me. But it's just, even with injuries, too, like injuries can take away that stuff. So I definitely value time more.
And in valuing time, what have you tried to do more of or less of in the fact that you now appreciate time?
I wouldn't say that I do something more or less.
Okay.
I would say that I just, I don't take anything for granted. I always, see the moment and, I value time a lot better.
When you're going through this period like we all were, and you had the opportunity to kind of stop in, really smell the roses, besides baseball, what took up your time? Did you try to do something more with your family? Were there board games? Were there movies? Was there Netflix? Was there music? What did you go to as an avenue to kind of keep you positive-minded?
I spent a lot of time on the road, and sightseeing definitely helped with that. I love looking at, architecture, and I love looking at that kind of stuff. And it definitely helped. It kind of let me see the world as something different. It's not just baseball. It's not just, school. I got to see, history. It was really cool.
Where did you feel like you saw like the best architecture and best history?
New York City.
New York City.
Walking around, looking at the skyscrapers, and it was awesome. I loved it.
And you did this, was this like all connected to baseball, these travels?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't have one travel. I didn't go anywhere where it wasn't for baseball last year.
How many places did you go to?
Throughout the summer, probably 9 or 10 places I went to.
And I remember being on the phone with you. I think I was heading out to the Wildcat out in Camillus, and I was on the phone. I had passed the fair, and I'm at that split for Fairmount and Auburn and I'm driving, and I was on the phone with you and your dad. You and your dad were in the car, and I was like, oh, what are you guys up to? And you're like, oh, I'm going to travel ball. I'm going to New Jersey. And it was like in the heart of it was a few months into the pandemic, and I'm like, how are you still doing this?
Yes. Oh yeah.
But it was almost like you guys, it's like watching a movie where like the comets are hitting in the background and your car with your dad is driving forward and they're missing you and you're just ahead of them. In the middle of this pandemic, you guys were functioning as if there was no pandemic.
Yeah.
How did you plan all this out? Was this a lot of your dad, BJ, putting it together? Were you researching? I mean, how did you find places to continue to play? Because literally everything in Central and Upstate New York had stopped, and I'm on the phone with you, and you're like, oh, I got a tournament this week. I'm trying to do something a couple days from now.
Yeah. People were still playing. They really didn't stop.
Yeah.
New York was probably one of the only places that really stopped. But, Pennsylvania, they were still playing a little bit. New Jersey, they were still playing a little bit. I even went to North Carolina. They were still playing. So people are still playing. It's just you got to find those places.
How did you find them?
My coach really helped me. Coach Ferber, he would just find places to play. He would go and he'd play. Yeah, he didn't really care, which is funny.
How did you get into it? Because obviously, in order to play, you have to, you got to get your name in there and whatnot. So, were you doing this individually? Did you go with anybody that was also looking to play? How did you get onto these circuits, so to speak?
Well, I was supposed to play with Coach Ferber before the pandemic.
Okay.
We were supposed to play. We were supposed to do tournaments and all that.
Okay.
So it was really a team thing that we did. You know, everybody, if you're on that team, you want to get college looks, you want to go, and you want to play college baseball. So those guys are going to play. They're going to find places to play, and we're going to go. We don't really care. We wear we did mask stuff. We did all that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we just played. We didn't really...
So he had already set up these trips.
Yeah.
And he just said, hey... if we can play, we're going to play. We got to wear a mask. We're going to wear a mask.
Yeah, and if you don't want to go, then don't go. We'll find other people that want to play.
Did a lot of the people that were supposed to go or no?
Yeah, everybody went.
And you got to play what position when you were out there?
First base and pitcher. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you think you did better?
Pitching.
Pitching?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't do very well last year hitting.
Okay.
I think honestly, not making excuses, but I think it was not being able to play high school baseball. And not being able to get those extra reps that I would, in a normal year. Like this year, I got to play high school baseball, got to hit, got to, see live pitching, and now I'm going into tournaments and I'm doing really, really well.
Why, like you said, not playing high school baseball last year, having your freshman year taken away from you, so not being able to, see the ball and hit, and you thought that affected you. How could you still be a successful pitcher?
Pitchers definitely had an advantage during the COVID year. Pitchers were able to throw bullpens. They were able to do that kind of stuff. They were still able to work on their craft.
Yeah.
But it's really hard for a hitter to work on his craft during the pandemic. It's really, really hard. Because, you can, take swings off the tee. You can do front toss. You can do, BP. But seeing that arm, seeing the live arm is totally different. Going from, BP is probably 40 miles an hour and then going to see a 85, 90 mile an hour fastball.
Yeah.
Totally different. Totally different.
I was always wondering if you could go to the batting cages and have them turn it up and be like, throw me a changeup at 85 miles an hour or something like that.
Yeah.
But, you can't simulate that. As a pitcher, how did you get better during the pandemic?
I had equipment. We had to buy... a 9 pocket, which is able to hold the baseballs and it shows you the strike zone. And I built a batting cage, had an L screen so my dad can throw to me. And then I had to build a mound. And it was hard. I would have never thought that some of the things that I got to use on a regular basis and, I was able to go to a batting cage nearby and I was able to throw bullpens and I was able to do that stuff. Yeah. I always took that for granted. I was always like, oh, that's always going to be there. Yeah. But when the pandemic hit and that stuff closed down, then I was like, well, now what am I going to do?
So you and your dad essentially built a simulation of being a pitcher.
Absolutely.
Why is Dad so enthralled in all this? Why is he so passionate about it?
I don't think that he's passionate about that. I think he's passionate about me and that he wants to see me succeed. And he's going to do whatever he can to help me succeed.
Has he always been that way?
Absolutely.
When did he have you connected to baseball? How early?
We were kind of trying things out. I was probably 4 years old, and we were trying everything out. We played football, we did lacrosse, we did basketball, and to be honest, I sucked at all of them. And then we tried baseball, and I still wasn't very good at it, but I was like, you know what? I really like this, and I want to keep on trying. And I was 4 years old, and I said, I like this. Yeah. Let's keep doing this. So, and then, as I got older, 6, 7, 8 years old, started to get better, started to get more experienced, and then travel ball came around, 9U travel ball. And we were like, okay, well, let's try this. Yeah. And then that's when I really started to realize, I was a really good pitcher, and I still was terrible at hitting. And then Little League, and kind of when I was 12 years old, I started to hit. Yeah. And that's when they really started to see I had some power. And that's when I started putting balls over the fence, and I started, hitting really hard. And that's when I also started throwing really hard. And that's kind of where it all started.
It was Little League and then being 12.
Yeah.
And
that's when I really started to get better.
How did it kick in and what happened?
I don't know. I think I just grew. I got older.
Yeah.
Puberty hit, and it was just, I had a growth spurt. I grew 7 inches. I was 5'8". I was like 4'11". And then I grew to 5'8", and I was 12. And, everything just kind of clicked.
Why do you love pitching?
I like striking dudes out. I like just throwing a pitch and then them swinging and missing and just taking the pitch and walking back to the dugout. It's the best feeling ever.
A lot of people want to pitch. Not everybody obviously is good at it.
Yeah.
How much of this do you think is natural born talent and how much of it is work?
I'd say it's probably 70-30. A lot of it is hard work and then natural born talent.
The talent, you said it kicked in at 12. You had the growth spurt and everything. I mean, I've gone up to a mound before and you throw the ball and you feel really good about it. And then you look at the clock and it might say 40 miles an hour, but in your head it's 80.
Yeah.
How did you start to develop, when you say at 12 it clicked in and you had the growth spurt and whatnot, but how did you develop control? How did you develop your power? How did you, it's a very difficult thing to do that a lot of people make look easy. How did you develop it at such a young age where you actually thought at 12, oh, okay, maybe I can do this?
Well, definitely the coaches that I had. Coach Matt Gates, he's the freshman baseball coach. He's also the varsity football. He does something. I think he's the offensive coordinator for CNS football. And he really helped me with the pitching mechanics, and he, showed me the basic stuff and, leg lift and breaking the hands at the same time as your leg goes down. And he also helped me with my hitting. And he's really the one that kind of showed me how to hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you give a shout out to Matt Gates. How much do you think, where has he improved? I mean, you talk about him helping you in hitting, but where has he improved you the most, maybe to get a little bit deeper into it?
He's not a coach now for me anymore. He's more of a mentor.
Okay.
And I think that's definitely the most that I value now is him being a mentor for me and him, helping me through some of the stuff that I was, going through. And he kind of, showed me the way, and he kind of, brought me in, and he kind of helped me out a little bit.
That coming here from Bryce Zicaro here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Cafe Kubal, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse as well as inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital. And, of course, you can find them out in Manlius on 343 Fayette Street, and their newest location, which is right down the road from CNS at their first ever drive-thru at the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners. You'll find Cafe Kubal's drive-thru location. So we're happy to be here in the studios talking with Bryce Zicaro, playing for the Northeast Pride, CNS, and obviously, traveling around and finding opportunities where he can. Of the 9 locations you were at over this past summer, a year ago, what can you tell me about where did you, I know you talked about it a little bit, but where did you physically go? Like what cities, what states did you go to? And I guess we'll start there and then we'll talk about some of it.
I went to Staten Island, went to Piscataway. That was New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I went to Long Island. I went to North Carolina. I went to Raleigh. I was supposed to go to ESPN World Out of Sports in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Which would have been very
At
cool.
Disney. Yeah.
But I decided to coach and do that instead, which was fun.
You decided to coach?
Yeah.
What'd you coach?
I coached 10U baseball.
Really?
Yeah.
So you went back to your 9U days and then you got to pay it forward.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So where did you coach 10U?
I coached for the Salt City Swing Kings.
Okay.
Yeah. And
what was your job?
I was the head coach.
You're the head coach?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
How'd you get it?
Well, Matt Gavendo, I've known him. His son Maddie plays for CNS.
Yeah.
And yeah, we kind of just talking to him, and he wanted some player coaches, and I was just supposed to be an assistant, kind of pitching coach, help the guys out a little bit.
Yeah.
But I ended up turning into the head coach after one game.
How'd you do?
I did really well. Oh yeah. We didn't win very many games, but it was more about having fun and the experience of baseball. That's really what mattered to me.
And how old are you?
I was 15. I'm 16 now.
So 15 years old, coaching 10U. You're 5 years older than the oldest player on the team.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
They didn't really see me as a 15-year-old. They more saw me as a coach. They didn't, treat me any differently than they would. And that's what really stuck with me, is that the kids, respected me, and it was really cool.
What did you get out of it? Like, what was kind of your main thing or things you took?
Well, I remember my dad coaching throughout Little League, and I remember his philosophies were have fun and don't worry about winning. And that's what he told me the first day I went out there, is have fun and don't worry about winning. So when I went out there with the kids, and that's what I taught them. I was like, let's have fun.
Yeah.
I want to teach you baseball, and let's have fun with it too. And that was fun.
Do you think that they picked up what you put down?
Absolutely.
How did you see that?
The first day, they weren't really smiling too much. They were kind of like all about business, and I was just like, relax, like, it's baseball, it's a game. And then, after our last game, they all came up and, they hugged me and they said thank you, and, we loved it, and they were all smiling.
Yeah.
Like, there's pictures on Instagram, and there's pictures of them smiling while playing, and that was one of the best things I've ever seen.
So, is that the best thing you thought you gave them, is to relax and have fun?
Absolutely.
And even though you didn't win as much, how do you balance that out, that relax and have fun? Obviously, you want to win. How did you assess the season?
If they had fun and they learned how to play baseball, and they learned what baseball is, and they learned the fundamentals, that's a win in my book. It's not about going, 10-0. It's not about that. It's about if they learned baseball and they learned how to play it the right way.
What is baseball? When you say if they learned what it is, what is it?
It's just a game. It's a kid's game. You see kids playing in the park. You see them playing wiffle ball.
Yeah.
It's a kid's game. It's fun. It's not supposed to be stressful. You're not supposed to strike out and worry about, getting yelled at. It's not about that. It's about having fun. Go get them next time. That's what it's about.
What makes you so positive?
I've just always been positive. I've never been like a very negative person. I never really beat myself up too much if I don't do something right. Obviously I get upset and I'm like, okay, what happened? I think about the at bat, or I think about the pitch over in my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, now what can I do to fix it next time? It's never about holding my head and hanging my head and doubting myself. It's more about what can I do to get better? What can I do next time?
How did you say you've always been positive, and it's not about hanging your head, it's about what can you do better next time. Who helped instill that positivity within you?
My dad. Yeah, my dad. If he saw me, crying after I struck out or, something like that, he'd always be like, hold your head high and get him next time. It was never, doubting me and, bringing me down more. It was always about, being there and, bringing me back up.
Does he give you tough love at times?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does he balance tough love and, hey, son, it's all right, get him next time?
To be honest, he balances it really, really well.
Okay.
He's definitely the type of a guy to give me the negative feedback and then give me the positive feedback. Like, yeah, you struck out and, it didn't look too good, but the next at bat, you got a single, you adjusted, and you got a single. So now he's like, you're making progress, you're doing this, and that's what's definitely the best about him.
What's the angriest he's ever been when it's come to baseball?
Well, I was in Cooperstown. My first year in Cooperstown, I went twice.
Okay.
My first year in Cooperstown, I got taken out of the game from pitching. I had a great game, pitched really well, and I went to outfield. I played center field. So during the warm-ups, the kids pitching, warming up, and us in the outfield are pretending to rob home runs. And we're jumping up. And so I go up there and try it. And I go up, and my glove falls over the fence. And the fences are 10 feet high, you know, 9 feet high.
Yeah.
And so play ball, and I don't have a glove. So I have to hold my hands up like, hey, I don't got a glove. My coach pulls me off the field, and he's like mad because you know, we don't have anybody really else. And that's definitely the angriest my dad's been. He came around. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Where's your glove?" And it's over the fence. Somebody came and bring it to me.
Yeah.
And that was probably the angriest he's been.
And that was how many years ago?
4
years ago.
3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't mess around in the outfield anymore?
No.
Okay.
I learned my lesson.
That coming from Bryce Zicaro here with us inside the Cafe Kubal Studios. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're going to take a quick step aside. Be back right after this. Avicoli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, is our home for our exclusive Liverpool Warriors athletics program every single month on site on location. Avicoli's is also there for you Tuesday through Sunday for their dine-in on their casual pizza side, their fine dining, their bar, as well as their outdoor dining. And, of course, you can call them for takeout, delivery, and catering at 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. And, of course, you go to myavicolis.com. Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding are your trusted extension of your family when it comes to taking care of your furry-loving friend. Some places have businesses that take care of dogs. Some people have families that look after your dog the way that you would. And so Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground is the latter. I've trusted them with Lily, and I obviously, as always, I will not say it unless I believe in it myself. And the way that they treat our animals is truly a beautiful, beautiful thing. And not just taking any dog, but they actually go through a process with you to make sure that your dog has the right temperament, that they're going to be safe around other dogs, and that they're not going to put any other dogs in harm or in danger. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding don't just care about your dog, they care about all the dogs around you and about doing things right the first time and every time. The dog daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, and the campground is right around the corner for dog boarding at 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, both right off of Bridge Street in East Syracuse, right by BJ's. PB&J's Lunchbox has their new Street Side Cafe location. You know their food truck by going to all of your Central and Upstate New York events and having their amazing food on location at each of these events. Now you can have PB&J's Lunchbox come to you whenever you want to go. They're right there waiting for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all day. You can head off to PB&J's Lunchbox at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York, and have your new favorites right there, just off the thruway, off the highway, minutes from Destiny USA and around the corner from Onondaga Lake Parkway. PB&J's Lunchbox, 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. And Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. I've trusted them for almost a decade, and, sitting here and speaking with Bryce Zicaro today, knowing everything they've done for student athletes in our community has been tremendous, and what they've done for people in general has been just as great. They understand that victory is a bunch of tiny steps taken in succession. It doesn't happen overnight, it happens over time, and they're willing to be with you on your entire ride back to your victory and back to being healthy, be it rehab, physical therapy, surgery, and preventative care. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, led by Dr. Mark Petropoli, listen to you, care about their patients, and each individual that walks through the door. They want to not only help you, but they want to make sure that you understand the whys and the hows and the wheres and everything that they're looking to do. They are second to none, and that's why I trust them, and you should too. 315-685-7544. That's 315-685-7544 to make an appointment at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Back here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios and inside of MonPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', we have Bryce Zicaro here with us today in studio for the first time ever. He's been on the show a bunch, but we've never had the opportunity to sit in the same room. Basically got to know each other, then COVID happens, and so everybody was separated for a minute, and now we get to actually sit next to each other, unmasked, and having a good time. It's nice to not have to wear a mask. It's nice to be sitting in a room and to finally get to talk to you. So, I want to thank you for letting me tell your story over the last year plus, a couple of years, and even more so than that, the fact that you have not only trusted me to tell your story, but you've been so good at keeping in touch and coming out here for the event today, and it goes a long way because I didn't know you at all, didn't know your family, and you and your father have really done a tremendous job of keeping in touch with me and being very positive, making me feel important and appreciated, and I send that right back. So I think before anything else, I have to say thank you for that.
No, thank you. Yeah, keeping my story alive. I appreciate that.
Well, I wanna see you succeed. I want to see everybody in this community succeed. In the right way. Morally and value driven. I want to see people. I want hard work to pay off. And where do you envision yourself? I mean, when we look at this and I'm telling your story, I'll be happy with wherever you push yourself to go because I believe in God. I believe in hard work. Where would you like to be?
Hall of Fame.
Cooperstown itself. Yeah. You want to be where you dropped your glove over the fence.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to have a better Cooperstown memory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How do we get there?
Hard work. Yeah, hard work and dedication.
What keeps you dedicated to the sport? When you have a bad day, when life isn't good on the mound, when you don't hit well, what keeps you going? Because it's easy to stay going when things are going in your direction. When things are positive and you're having success, it's very easy to keep focused. How do you keep focused when things aren't necessarily going your way?
I think that the 4-year-old Bryce would want to see me keep going. He wouldn't want me to stop. Because, I wasn't that good when I was younger, but I kept on going. Something was pushing me to keep going. And, that's definitely what keeps me going.
So you go back to 4-year-old Bryce.
Yeah.
What would you say to him today?
Thank you. Thank you for choosing baseball. He could have picked any other sport, but he chose baseball.
And seeing yourself now, a few years later, doing what you love, and being as young as you are, you don't sound that way when we're on the phone, and you don't seem that way when I'm sitting next to you. I don't feel like I'm talking to, 16 years old?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm talking to a 16-year-old. I really don't. Why are you older than your years? Because I genuinely look at you, and I'm like, he's not 16. In my head, you're a college player already. So how did you get to this point where, you are more mature and you handle life in such a way where, you're a kid, you have fun, but at the same time, you don't give off a vibe that you're an immature kid?
I think that's just how my parents raised me. They raised me to be polite, and they raised me to be respectful to others.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that that's stuck with me through the years.
We talk about Dad a lot.
Yeah.
Let's shout out Mom.
Yeah.
What's Mom's name?
Jen.
Jen?
Yeah.
So what do we love the most about Mom, about Mama Jen?
She's always there to help me with my injury. She's always there to help me, cover the wounds. She's always there. And I
wounds that are physical
and mental.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How does Mom heal the wounds?
Love. Yeah, just being there for me. She kind of gets me away from baseball a little bit.
Okay.
She likes music. We talk about music. She likes food. We talk about food. We make food, and that's definitely something that I like.
What's the most difficult thing, injury-wise, physically or mentally, you've ever had to deal with?
I had a concussion when I was 12.
Okay.
I fell off my bike in November and fractured my skull and had a concussion. I was out for 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, could have died, and that was probably the biggest mental thing that I've had to deal with.
How did you get through that?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It's just, I guess, yeah, I don't know.
What did Mom and Dad do at that time?
There was really nothing that they could do. They did whatever they could to get me the treatment that I needed, and I had to go through physical therapy. I had to go to the concussion clinic. I had to do all that. So many doctor's appointments, and it was really, really tough.
And that was at 12 years old, so just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Fractured your skull.
Fractured my skull and had a concussion. Yeah.
How are you today? You seem completely fine.
Yeah, I'm still going through stuff. I have vision problems. I have short-term and long-term memory loss. I have stuff that I'm still dealing with from that.
How do you play successfully as a pitcher? How do you fight through it to have the success you've had?
I don't know. Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, I would have never thought that I'd be in this position, honestly. I mean, 2 days after I had the accident, it felt like I was going to be nothing. It felt like I was just going to be recovering all my life and trying to figure out what was going on. And it felt like it was never going to end. But then, progressively, 3 months come and I'm getting better. And it was more of the not being able to practice and not being able to do baseball stuff. That's really what killed me. And, not being able to see my friends. I was out of school for the whole year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm kind of used to this COVID stuff with the not going to school.
Yeah.
But still, it's not easy at all.
As a pitcher, you have to have great vision.
Yeah.
How do you fight through your unfortunate circumstance and injury to be a successful pitcher?
I think it more affects my hitting more than my pitching, to be honest with you. Not being able to see the laces on the ball is very, very hard. I can't see the red laces. And that's how a lot of hitters pick up the spin. And that's how a lot of pitchers pick up off-speed pitches. Yeah. But instead of the spin, me being able to read the spin, I read the hand. So I see him breaking his hand early. I see him, pronating. And I can tell if it's a fastball or a changeup or if it's a curveball or, slider. So you don't take your injury and use it as a crutch. You actually found another way to understand the game. Yeah, absolutely. You ad-libbed. Yeah. Which everybody has to do in life. And earlier in today's show, we talked about that being the A in lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. How has ad-libbing gone for you? Gone fine so far. I'm doing pretty well. Yeah. I definitely think that I'm gonna probably want contacts or have eye surgery or do something to help my vision. Yeah. Yeah. So, you've been dealing with this for years. Yeah. Does it get stressful? Are you used to it? I mean, it seems like, if you don't say anything, you're just out there pitching. Who would know? Yeah. And that's you're kind of one of the only people that really know my mom, my dad, and people that are kind of close to me, but you're kind of the first person that knows. Coaches don't know nothing. Well, and now the world knows. Yeah. So what do you think about telling the world, hey, I had this traumatic injury and I found a way to live through it, still play the sport I love, and I make no excuses? That's just me. Doesn't matter what happens. If I have another injury, I'm still going to be able to play. I'm still going to be doing me. Nobody's going to know. I'm not going to use it as a crutch. That's just me. So, do you think that would affect you? Do you think anybody would ever look at you and say, oh, you had this injury years ago. I don't know if we take a chance on you? I hope not. I'm doing fine now. Yeah. Tell us about your pitching this season, now that you've had a season. What life was like with CNS. I started off a little rocky. My first appearance, I didn't do very well. I think I was just a little nervous, kind of being out there for the first time in a CNS uniform on the mound, being the sophomore, youngest guy on the team, and it was definitely tough. But after that, I kind of got the jitters away. I got the first game jitters away. Yeah. And I kind of just dealed. I did me. I did big cat stuff. That's what it is. And I think the next game I had 8 strikeouts, and then I had 2 runs, 8 strikeouts, and then the game after that against West Jenny, I gave up 1 earned run, and I had 10 Ks. And West Jenny beat us in the semifinals too, which sucked. Yeah. But yeah, and they beat me 2-1, and it was a great game. I loved it. Yeah, probably one of the better games. Just the vibe was just ridiculous. Everybody was into it. Yeah. You could feel it. You could feel the energy in the air, and it was really cool. So, how did you get rid of the jitters after being the youngest player on the team, not having a great first game? How did you break those jitters to find success and have 8 Ks after that? Honestly, probably hitting. Kind of hitting definitely helped me because I was doing really well hitting, and that kind of got me away from, mentally the pitching stuff and all that. And then, my next outing I did really well, so it wasn't really too much to think about after that. How'd you hit this year? I hit 286 or something like that, and it was it was pretty good. Well, yeah, for a pitcher, it's fantastic. Yeah. So,
And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But pitching-wise, at the end of the season, what were the stats? You remember?
I finished with like a 1.5 ERA, 28 strikeouts, 10 or 11 hits. Not a lot. Pretty good.
Where are those numbers compared to where you want them?
I don't want to give up any runs.
Yeah.
I want to strike out as many everybody. I want to give up no hits. I want to do everything.
Bring me into the feeling of putting a K on the board.
It's really about the first pitch. If you throw that first pitch strike, that's when you start to feel it. You're like, okay, now, let's work it a little bit. 0-1, go with a curveball or another fastball, depending on what I threw the first pitch. I like to throw a first pitch curveball. It's really fun, especially to a lefty. If you're a lefty, you can really expect the first pitch curveball.
Okay.
It's the best thing. I mean,
I love how you have no issue literally saying to the world, this is what I'm throwing at you. Try to hit it.
Yeah.
People want to like hide and smoke and mirrors and not tell anybody anything, and you're like, this is the pitch. It's coming at you. Expect it, because you have that much confidence.
Yeah. I do that a lot in game too. I've been told that.
You look at the batter and say, I'm throwing you a curveball right now.
I mean, I've done it.
You've done it?
Yeah.
You've literally said it?
Last tournament, I haven't said it, but last tournament, a lot of people were talking on the dugout and the other team. They were like, you won't throw a fastball. And I looked at them and I said, 1, which is a fastball.
Yeah.
And I looked at the batter and I went 1.
Yeah.
And he was geared up for it, and I threw it right past him. Didn't even touch it. I have that much confidence. I'm the most cockiest person on the mound ever.
Okay.
Like, I have the most confidence. And I love that about me. Like, I've been told, like, in person, like, I seem really humble.
Yeah.
I really appreciate. I love that. And then I tell them, like, well, on the mound, I'm totally different.
So you are on the mound. You are
the cockiest person on the field.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. And I love that about me, because it just gives me a totally different feel. It gives me a totally different, perspective of who I am. Like, I feel like a totally different person on the mound.
How do you turn it on and off?
As soon as I step on the rubber. Yeah. I feel it. There's just something in my head that clicks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the best feeling ever.
And so the game's not going your way. You give up 3 hits. It's, let's say we're 3 innings in, and you've already given up 3 hits, let's say. How do you stay focused? How do you stay confident? How do you stay locked in when it's not going your way?
I stay focused on the batter. It doesn't matter how many people are on base. I'm always focused on the batter.
Okay.
I mean, I'll probably give up the most stolen bases because I don't care about the runners. I'm focused on the batter. I'm focused on him. I'm not focused on the guys around me. It's me, the catcher, and the batter. Nobody else.
Have you ever been shaken?
No. I can honestly say that, no.
You don't feel like anybody's got in your head?
Nobody's gotten in my head.
How do they not get it in your head?
Because I get in their head first. And then they think that they're in my head. Okay. But I'm just in their head.
What's your favorite pitch to
Fastball.
throw? Fastball?
Fastball.
How fast are you throwing it?
86.
86?
Yeah.
Where do you want to be?
90, 95.
Okay.
100. I mean.
What is it? Aroldis Chapman?
Aroldis Chapman's 105.1.
105.1. Yeah. And a tornado is 112.
Yeah.
The only thing faster than his pitch is a tornado. He's faster than, what did they say? In the Kentucky Derby, the horses get up to 38 miles an hour. It was something ridiculous. It was like the Daytona 500, and like it was in succession. It's at the Cooperstown Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That Aroldis Chapman on September of 2010 threw 105.1.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the fastest you've ever thrown? Is it 86?
86.
Okay.
Yeah. And I hit it 4 times.
You what?
I hit it 4 times.
You hit it 4 times?
Yeah.
This year?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the same game.
In the same game?
Yeah, against Beeville.
What was it that was just getting you there?
I was angry.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really, really mad.
Okay.
A lot of the guys like to talk.
Yeah.
In the dugout. They like to get, think they're in my head. I'm just in the bullpen. I can hear them.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, the big cat, oh, this and that. And I'm just in the bullpen just throwing bullets.
Yeah.
And it's just the best thing ever. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see if you can hit this. So I get on the mound, bases loaded, 2 outs, and 1, 2, 3. struck him out. And it was just silence. And I just walk off the mound.
Yeah.
Just
so do you have to get, I mean...
I have to get in my own head.
You have to, and how? How, in what way?
I hype myself up.
Okay.
Yeah. I start, like, getting mad. I start, like, getting
How do you
angry.
get mad? What do you do? Because you say that you get in their head first.
Have you ever heard about Michael Jordan, how he used to make stuff up in his head about people and be like, use it as energy?
Well, like make up people saying stuff about him?
Yeah. Okay. So I would do that. I'd be like, he was talking bad about me, or he was saying something about my mom, or something. I'd do something like that.
Okay.
And it would just get in my head. And then I'd get angry. I feel my adrenaline rushing, and that's when I know I did it. So, and then when I get on the mound, I'm huffing, I'm, breathing in and out, and I can feel it. I feel everything. I can feel my fingers. I could feel like, I just feel amazing. And then just from there, it just escalates.
So I said, how do you keep them from getting in your head? And you said, I get in their head first.
Yeah.
So how do you balance them not getting in your head in reality, but then you pretending them getting in your head to hype yourself up? How do you differentiate?
So,
like somebody comes up, Steve comes up, and he's saying stuff to you, you don't let it in.
No.
But to hype yourself up, you tell yourself that Steve said something to you.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate?
And then I'll look at them and I'll shake my head like, I hear you. Oh, I hear you.
Yeah.
And it's hyping me up more and more and more.
Yeah.
And that's really how I do it. It's just I let them think that they're in my head just so they can keep on talking. And they can keep on getting me hyped up and getting me riled up. And that's just how I do it.
So they don't get in your head, you get in your own.
Yeah.
And
then I let them think that they're getting in my head.
Okay.
By listening to them and nodding my head and doing that kind of stuff.
But are you hyping yourself up based on what they're actually saying or based on what you're telling yourself they're saying?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they don't get in your head, but you get in. It's hard to describe because it's like they're in your head, but they're not in your head, but you're letting them get in. Like you're controlling them in your head.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, in a way, in the first Avengers movie, where Mark Ruffalo looks at Natasha Romanoff, a.k.a. Black Widow, and he says, do you want to know my secret?
Yeah, I'm always angry.
And he says, I'm always angry, and he turns into the Hulk, that easily.
Yeah.
Is that a way to describe
absolutely.
It? That you can turn it on and off?
Absolutely.
So they don't really get in, like if I was talking trash to you right now, I'm not getting in your head.
No.
But you're thinking I'm talking trash about you, so you're putting me in there. But then if I actually start to, I'm just fueling the fire.
My fire.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just hurting myself.
Yeah.
So it would do me a disservice to talk trash to you.
Yeah. Like the teams that I'm scared about are the ones that don't talk. Because those are the ones that are like, okay, they're in it. Like they're feeling it.
Yeah. So what do you do? How do you get yourself?
I just talk to myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're not saying anything.
And I'm just like, these guys are, they like to talk and they like to do this and they like to do that. I make up stuff in the dugout.
Okay.
And it helps me.
How do you shut it off after the game?
When I step off the mound, it kind of it releases itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've honed how to step on the rubber, bring it all in, step off the rubber, push it all out.
Yeah. I'm the type of guy to leave it out in the field.
How did you get there?
Honestly, it was
because there's people in life in general that are like in the figurative aspect of it. They're looking at you, Bryce, saying you're 16 years old. How do I leave it all on the field? Because a lot of people don't know how to leave it on the field.
Yeah. I'm just a really competitive person to begin with.
Okay.
Anything that I do, I want to win. Doesn't matter if I'm playing checkers. Doesn't matter if I'm playing bingo. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. Okay. I'm always going to be competitive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't matter who I'm facing against. It doesn't matter if I'm playing my grandmother or if I'm playing, Michael Jordan. That's just me.
Where does it come from?
I don't know. I was just born with it.
Did your dad play up against you and stuff and ever let you win, or did he always push you?
He always pushed me. Yeah.
And would he block you when you were trying to play basketball as a 4-year-old?
Yeah. And it was my neighbors too. My neighbors were, I was 8 and they were 16, 17 years old, and I always played with them. And I always had to, play tough, and they always, taught me how to play tough, and they never took it easy on me. They always would push me, they would do stuff. Okay. And that kind of helped me with that.
Can anybody get in your head besides you?
Hasn't happened yet, so I wouldn't know. Probably not.
Okay. All right.
I like to stay in myself. I like to stay, in my head.
So you throw 86.
Yeah.
Have you realized you have to... Did you realize this year that you had to piss yourself off? Or
No,
did you know...
it's always been that. It's always... I walk off the mound and I'm pounding my chest and I get really into it, yeah.
So how did you get to 86 this year if you've always had that, like, I gotta...
I think I just got stronger.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always been...
Well, what does it take? Because I think people think, like, oh, it's just, it's just brute, it's just talent.
You have to have the ability to throw 86. You have to have the ability to throw 90.
Yeah.
But, my pitching coach now, Casey Mulholland, with Connect Pro Performance, his philosophy is, I can't teach you how to throw 90. You have to be able to throw 90.
Yeah.
But I can show you the techniques. I can show you the movements to help you throw 90. But ultimately, your body has to be able to throw 90.
Yeah.
Like he probably can't teach you how to throw 90.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's these guys that saying, oh, the 90-mile-per-hour formula. You have to do this, this, and this to throw 90. But your body has to be able to throw 90. You can't just wake up and do this formula and throw 90.
Right, because then everybody would be a pitcher.
Exactly. So
it has to be God-given.
Yes.
But how do you tap into it? Like, how do you, like, if you've just got to 86, how do you get 4 more miles?
I don't know if I'll be able to throw 4 more miles an hour.
Okay.
I mean, I hope.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could be throwing 86 until I'm 30.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Obviously, I hope I throw harder, but being able to learn the mechanics to throw 90, throw 95, 100 miles an hour, that's what's important to me. It's not about trying to reach that number. It's about, learning the mechanics to reach that number.
Right, to control.
Absolutely.
So it's God-given talent, but there's technique.
Yeah.
Does the technique give you a mile here and a mile there? What does the technique do?
It just it gives you the right mechanics to throw 90 to be healthy throwing 92.
Okay.
So if you just walk up there and try to throw 90 and just throw your arm out, you're obviously gonna get hurt.
Right.
But teaching your body the right mechanics and the right steps to throw 90, that's gonna help you in the long run too.
Do you have to throw 90 to make it?
That's like the point right there is 90. Yeah, you're not really gonna go anywhere throwing 86.
Yeah. So with pitchers throwing so fast,
it changes the number. Yeah, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Yeah. You throw 90, you're a phenom. Yeah. But now you throw 90, like everybody throws 90. Yeah. There's.
How does that happen?
I don't know. It's God-given ability. Yeah. And hard work.
So for you have the God-given ability. You said that's the majority of it.
Yeah.
What's the percentage? God-given, technique?
70-30.
70-30. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I know people that throw 90 but don't do anything for it. Like they throw 90 and they don't have any mechanics. They just can. Okay. And I don't understand those people. I wish I knew how to do that. Okay. Like I have a friend, he wakes up and he doesn't do anything for it and he throws 92. And he's a freak. Yeah. There's people that are like that and they just don't know how they do it. There's just people like that. But there's other people that have to work for it. They have to, grind for it.
So with everything that you've worked to do to get to 86, does it feel like there's more in the tank for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because I still have mechanics stuff. Like, your mechanics can hold you back from throwing hard. Okay. So teaching your body those mechanics to help you unlock that stuff, that's going to help you in the long run.
So you don't think your mechanics are all there yet?
No.
Once they're there and you throw, then you're going to know, like, this is what I got.
This is what I got.
Maybe it's 90, maybe it's 87, maybe it's 95. Yeah. But this is...
Yeah. And also getting older, having a mature body and being 18, 19 years old. Yeah.
So the formula for this, how old, in your opinion, how old do you have to be, the mechanics, and God-given, you put it all together, when will we know, okay, this is what he's got. This is the fastest he's got.
Probably 25 years old, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah. If your mechanics are sound, everything is, nothing's going to be perfect. But
Right.
if your mechanics are sound and you're, 25 years old and you're throwing, let's say, 95 miles an hour, that's probably going to be the peak of your, if you're a freak and you start throwing 98 in 2 years, because there's people like that.
Yeah.
There's Lucas Giolito. He was throwing 92 to 93 miles an hour. Now he's throwing 96 to 97 miles an hour. 2 years later. Aroldis Chapman's still throwing 100, 101, 102 miles an hour. And he's, what is he, 30, 31, 32?
Yeah. How does that even make sense, though?
It's crazy. Yeah. Baseball, pitchers are weird.
Yeah.
They're very, very weird. They're
Yeah.
just ridiculous.
And your body is taught not to go over, but to go under.
Yeah.
So how do you stay... I just dealt with a bunch of stuff, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We just had 4 different athletes on 2 that needed surgery and 2 that did it without surgery, but all of them that had some type of a Tommy John injury.
Yeah.
How does your body handle this when it's taught to be here? It's taught to hang, not taught to go over. So, how do you prevent? Because what we learned from Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is from Dr. Mark Petropoli and the team there is that, and Dr. Carl Calabrese, is what we learned from them is that these Tommy John injuries that I'm thinking are going to happen to 30 to 40-year-olds, they're happening now to 15 to 20.
Yeah.
Why is it younger in your opinion? Because you're in that.
Yeah.
So why do you think Tommy John injuries are happening more?
The harder kids are throwing.
Okay.
Yeah, kids are starting to throw harder now, and it's more wear and tear on your body. You don't hear about, a 12-year-old throwing 60 miles an hour getting Tommy John. And a lot of people say that you get Tommy John for throwing curveballs. You can get Tommy John for throwing any pitch.
Yeah.
It's more the wear and tear on your body that's causing that. And the harder you throw, the more wear and tear.
How do you prevent a Tommy John injury?
Sound mechanics, recovery.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Because some of these guys, a lot of the guys said that they would have just tried to play through it. They would have just kept trying to throw.
Yeah.
But when you want to make the majors, when you want to have a future and you can get up to 90, you want to give it all you got.
Yeah.
So how do you know how to listen to your arm?
It's more, once your arm tells you, this is what my pitching coaches told me, once your arm tells you that it's sore, it's already too late.
Okay.
You have to see that stuff. You have to get checked out. You have to, have guys you have to have trainers that are going to be able to assess you. Like Trevor Bauer with the Dodgers, he goes through training stuff. He goes through regular everyday tests to see how his arm is.
Yeah.
So he does range of motion tests. And if his range of motion's in the green, then he's good. He's good to go. He's good to go in his regular daily program. But if he's in the yellow or the red, then that means that they have to alter something to help his arm recover more.
Tommy John, it felt like it was few and far between, 1 or 2 pitchers in the majors. Now I feel like it's...
Almost every other pitcher is getting it, yeah.
Why? Are guys just not listening to their bodies?
I don't know.
Are they being overused? Are the teams asking too much of them?
Yeah, I really don't know.
And what's healthy, in your opinion, what's a healthy pitch count in a game? Should guys be throwing 100 pitches, 90 pitches in a game?
I think 90, 95 pitches is good.
Okay.
Once you start to get over 100, that's a lot. But it's also about how many days of rest is he getting after that too. Because, you can't go throw 105 pitches and then come back 3 days later and throw another 100 pitches. That's when you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
There's not enough time to let your body rest, let your muscle break down, and let it build itself back up. There's not enough time in between that. So it also depends on the day's rest that he has.
As a high school player, what is your life like as a pitcher? How much rest do you get?
I monitor all my stuff. I monitor my workload very much. I have arm sleeve, and I have a chip that measures all my throws and measures the degrees my arm goes to, and it measures all that. And I have my pitching coach who's in Tampa, Florida. he helps me break down all the metrics, and he tells me, like, hey, you need to start doing this more, or hey, you need to back off a little bit because your arm is, it's saying something.
Are you pitching every game?
No.
So, because in some places, somebody might be asked to do that, especially when they're younger.
Yeah.
So how much break do you get in a typical season?
So let's say I throw on a Monday, I'll probably come back Sunday or Monday. It's usually 6 to 7 days.
Okay, so you get a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're in a 3-game rotation, then you'll come back the 4th game.
Are you ever asked to come in a shorter span of a week to maybe come in and close?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that this season for high school baseball. I would close a little bit. I came in to close one game, and then the next game I pitched again.
Okay.
But my body was able to do that.
Yeah.
I was working up this off season for that because I knew that was going to be my role. I talked to my high school coach, asked him what's going on. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
So I had to let my pitching coach know, like, hey, this is what's going on, so that we can build up for that stuff, so that my arm is capable of doing that.
You come out of this season thinking, I did really well at this. I need to work on this. What are those things? Where are you doing what you wanted to do, and where do you need to improve?
Pitching wise, it was throwing strikes after 0-2.
Okay.
I'd get 0-2, and then I'd throw balls. I'd walk a guy on 0-2.
Why?
I don't know. That's just something that I need to work on. I need to work on pitch execution after 0-2.
Do you get too hype?
I don't know. I really don't know. Okay. It's something that I do. And it's definitely brought my walks up. Obviously, it's brought my pitch count up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also attacking hitters, too, because sometimes I'd go 3-0 and walk them. I wouldn't throw a strike. And then I'm like, okay, well, what did I just do? Because the last batter, I struck him out 3 pitches.
So you have to be able to close. And not in the sense of being a closer.
I had to close a batter.
You have to close a batter.
Yeah. Yep. And then I did really well probably throwing to guys. Throwing to their weaknesses.
Okay.
If I faced a batter already and he's at his second at bat, I remember, or my catcher will tell me, hey, last at bat, he was, struggling to get to that inside pitch.
Yeah.
So I know. Okay.
How do you remember? You said sometimes you have short-term, long-term. How do you recall them?
Well, that's why my catcher, he would come up to me.
Okay.
And, like in the dugout, if we were looking at who's coming up,
be
like, hey, 7, 8, 9. That one hitter, he was struggling on that inside pitch, or the 2 hitter was struggling to get the outside pitch.
Yeah. Do you also remember it, though?
Not, it's
Kinda.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Like, I have to ask the coach, hey, top, to see if he's the one hitter.
Yeah.
Because I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they help you kind of see where the weakness is, and then you attack it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I constantly ask the umpire, too, what the count is. I always forget. Even when I'm hitting, too. It sucks. I'm like, what's the count?
Is that from the injury?
I think it's a little bit. It's also about me not really thinking about it too much.
Yeah.
It's also just, getting up there and hitting.
I mean, if you're locked in, I can imagine if I was a pitcher, I'd probably at times get lost in how many, what's the count?
Yeah. Yeah. How many outs?
Yeah.
What's the count? Yeah. Because I'm so focused on that batter that I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you feel like pitching, that's where, you attack the weaknesses, but you want to get better at closing out a batter. What about hitting? What did you do well? What did you not do?
I did really well at hitting in two strike counts.
Okay.
I did really well at shortening up because my stance changes from 0-0 to 0-2 or 2 strikes. It changes totally. I shorten myself, so I'm not focused on leg lift. I'm not focused on driving the ball. I'm just focused on getting the ball in play, not striking out.
Okay.
That's what I'm focused on, and I did really well at getting two strike hits.
Okay.
And being a good situational hitter.
So you kind of ironically have to learn how to close out a batter who's on an 0-2, but when you're hitting on an 0-2,
I'm really good at hitting on 0-2. Yeah,
Okay.
Which is very weird. And then probably I struggled with attacking the first pitch fastball.
Okay.
I almost knew that he was going to throw a first pitch fastball, and almost every time I didn't swing at it. And that's what I struggled at.
Okay.
And the one time I did swing it, I think I swung at it literally one time, and it was a base hit.
Why don't you swing at it?
I think that I just like seeing the pitcher and seeing the pitch for myself and seeing one pitch and getting one pitch. But
Is it hard to do that? Do most batters not want to swing at the first pitch?
a lot of batters don't swing at the first pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a thing. Yeah.
What do you have to see from that first pitch to make you swing?
Speed.
Okay.
How fast is it? If he throws me a hanging breaking ball, then I'm like, okay, well now I need to see a fastball, and that's when I'm starting to swing.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's tough because you can get a strike right down the middle, and now you're beating yourself up for not swinging at it. Or you can get a ball, and then you're like, okay, well now, it's 1-0. Now I can, swing. I see a fastball, So
what's going to make you swing that bat, though, when it is like a typical they don't swing at the first pitch? What's going to make you take a crack at it? Because sometimes that pays off huge dividends, but I feel like a lot of hitters don't want to chance that first one.
Well, I have to swing at a hit and run. So hit and run means you have to swing. So that's the time that I got the hit, was a hit and run. First pitch I saw, it was about here at my head, and I swung at it, and got a hit. Yeah, and I crushed it. Yeah, hit it to the gap.
So for you, there are moments where you'll take the chance.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I have to, because I don't want to get benched. So yeah, I kind of have to.
So in the hit and run, you felt like that was you had to.
Yeah. Well, I have to swing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no not taking the pitch. If I take the pitch, then I'm getting yelled at.
Why?
Because that's something that the coach puts on. It's a play. So the runner on first stealing.
Yeah.
And the coach says, "Hey, hit and run." So that means
I got to do it no matter what.
I have to swing. It doesn't matter if it's 20 feet in the air. Obviously, if it's obviously a ball, like if it's 10 feet in front of the plate, I'm not going to swing at that.
Right.
But the objective is to hold the catcher back from throwing him out. So it gives he has to sit back now instead of you not swinging. Now he's coming up to throw the ball. So he has to sit back longer so he doesn't get hit by the bat.
So in a hit and run, it just kind of worked out for you in that case.
Yeah. It was just right there, kind of, not really. And I just swung at it.
How are you at bunting?
I'm actually a really good bunter.
Okay.
I haven't got the call this year to bunt.
Yeah.
But I'm a pretty good bunter.
Does that put a lot of pressure? Do you feel that pressure when you have to bunt?
I'm just like, hey, just stick the bat out there. It's probably the easiest thing to do, honestly. Literally, you just stick the bat out and hit the bat with the ball, or hit the ball with the bat.
How much skill goes in your opinion, of making sure that ball is going to go far enough that the catcher can't reach out and grab it, but not too far that the pitcher can
It's
get
more
it?
of knowing how to do it. It's more of knowing how to tilt the bat towards the third base side or towards the first base side. I really like to look. So if I know I'm getting the bunt sign, I like to look at where the defense is and see if they're playing, who's playing in, who's not playing in. And it also depends on where the runner is too.
Yeah.
If there's a runner. But if you're just fast, you're just trying to get it down. But like for me, if it's a situational type of thing, where if there's a runner on third and I'm trying to get him in with a bunt, I'm going to the first base side. Because that's a harder play for him.
How do you take a fast pitch coming in and know how to direct it?
It's just about tilting your bat this way or tilting it this way.
Because I don't know. To me, there's some bunts where you just look at it like that was perfectly played. Like it was far enough, but not like it was just there. Like they can get it right in front of the base or right in front of the catcher, but far enough for like just perfectly just hit down. Like and you look at that like
it's about
some
angles.
people have a lot of skill.
Yeah, it's about angles.
So you feel like you've worked on that?
Yeah, it just kind of comes to me now. It's just like if I have to bunt, I'm like okay, and I just lay it down. And most of the time I'm out at first because I'm not very fast. So.
So, first base, pitcher, right field. Where would you like to be if you had to choose? If this was your collegiate career with a chance to make it to the majors, where would you lean?
Right now?
Yeah.
Not like, 5 years in the future and
I'm saying this is where you're at right now. You could paint the picture and say you're throwing faster.
If I'm throwing 90, 92 miles an hour, then I'm choosing hitting. And I'm still hitting really well. I'm choosing hitting. But if I'm throwing 95 miles an hour, I'm going to be a pitcher.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Do you feel that there's a path for you to get to the majors if your speed doesn't get up there?
Yeah. I feel like my hitting is still pretty good.
Okay.
And if I'm still hitting, then yeah.
So, bring me into first base and right field. Where would you rather be?
First base.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel the most comfortable there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I play right field because I have a really good arm. So it's not really about fielding, catching fly balls. I'm not really good at tracking fly balls. So
Okay.
it's more about just throwing guys out.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'd rather play first base just because I like being in the action. You know, a first baseman, almost every single play, if it's hit to the infielder, he's getting the ball.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like having that power.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's just why I like playing first base.
So you're good with either or. Do you have a college that's like a favorite?
Coastal Carolina is really nice.
Okay.
They're really, really nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
The campus is beautiful. The training facilities right off of the beach. It's beautiful. And the baseball team's really good too, and their uniforms are awesome.
Yeah. Recruiting wise, where are things at coming off your sophomore year?
They're there. Yeah, they're good.
You get phone calls, you get letters.
Yeah, emails, yeah.
What are they saying?
We want to see you. We want to come and see you. It's kind of, yeah. Can't really say too much.
Yeah.
But that's about all I can say, yeah.
So that first offer comes in someday. What's going through your head the day that happens?
Blessed, honestly. Yeah. It's really about if I want to go there, if I see myself there, who they have already recruited.
Yeah.
You know, that's gone through my head. I look up who they have recruited. And if it fits for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm going to be able to if I see myself playing there and I see myself actually playing.
Yeah.
And not just sit in the bench, because there's a lot of guys that are like that. They go there and expect them to play, and they don't play. And they just ride the bench because there's guys that are better than them. So, you know, if I get an offer from somebody that has a 6'2" first baseman who's a top 500 player in the country, you know, is there a possibility that I could play there? Absolutely. But if he's, you know, a top 10 player, then obviously, you know, that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For you, but you don't shy away from competition.
No.
So for you get film out there, you got a lot of stuff. Are you sending film to schools? Are you taking this travel ball film, taking the CNS film, taking when you go and do these things throughout the summer? Are you sending this stuff off?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. To everybody around the country? What are you doing?
No, there's definitely select lists that I choose from, and colleges that I see myself at, and colleges that I know that I can play at. And
have they responded to your film?
Yeah, they give positive feedback. Yeah.
Kind of just tell you what you need to do. And
yeah. There's not a lot they can say too. There's, you know, because I'm still a sophomore, but next year, junior year, they can really start talking to you, and that's when they can start giving you real feedback. You know.
This summer, what is on the schedule for this summer for you?
Well, this Wednesday I'm leaving for Boston College. Well, tomorrow I'm leaving for Boston College, which is really fun. And then I'm going to Georgia for 2 weeks to play. That's fun. And then going to Diamond Nation, doing this top prospect thing, which is pretty cool. And then hopefully go to the state games. Yeah.
And in the meantime, just sending this stuff. Yeah, because recruiting's it's weird because you can send stuff,
but they can't really say a lot.
Yeah, but there's like rules of what can and cannot be based on your year and all that. So you don't really know what they think.
Yeah, unless if you go to a camp.
Then they can
I
tell
was just
you.
at the St. John's camp, and that was pretty cool. That was fun.
And then they can talk to you and tell you.
Yeah.
What was your feedback?
I had a lot of fun there. It was really cool. The coaches were really cool. The campus was really cool. The training facilities were really cool. And, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
What did they say? Or could they say anything? What did they say?
They could say a little bit. They mostly talked about, you know, the power potential and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you took positives from that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a lot that I can say.
Yeah. That coming from Bryce Zicaro. Before I let you go, you've been so great at answering my questions.
I appreciate that.
I'm going to put myself on the hot seat. I'm not going to put you on there. Sports related, baseball, literally anything. 3 questions that you get to ask me. I have to answer them.
Okay.
Fire away.
All right, let me think. What's your favorite sports moment that you've watched or been at? Like, what's your favorite sports moment?
Uh, I would have to say there's a bunch. When my Diamondbacks were the fastest team to ever get to and win the World Series 4 years in 2001, beating my dad's Yankees. I threw my hat at my dad, went upstairs, woke my mom up at 10 o'clock at night. I think it was 10:08.
Yeah.
So that's one of them. The Raptors winning a championship with me being like the only Raptor fan in Syracuse.
Yeah.
And probably my favorite one was when 2003 when Syracuse men's basketball won the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad was sitting in the recliner. My mom was standing behind me. My dog Shady was laying on the floor facing the TV. And I was knelt down in front of the TV. And I remember looking back at my dad like, did this just happen? And my dad just went, wow, like that. He just had this, like, his eyes opened up and he kind of laughed like, did that just happen?
Yeah.
And my mom's, like, swearing and stuff. And, like, so I would probably say that that was my proudest moment because I said, in this moment, on this day, everyone in the world knows what Syracuse, New York is.
Yeah.
They all know us now.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Why did you choose to do podcasting? Why did you choose this?
I chose to be, God chose me to be a storyteller.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I was a little kid, I was about 5 years old. My dad had a word processor, which is actually in my office. And it was this big, heavy typewriter. And it had a little tiny screen. It was like the Cadillac of typewriters. And because you could see what you were writing. And it had this screen, and it was a green screen, a little black lettering. And when I would type on the typewriter, it would show me what I was typing. And then I could print it out. And I loved hearing that into all that stuff and then seeing it come out and getting in, like putting the paper in and spinning the paper. And I would always write shorts. I would write stories. I've always had a big imagination. And it was about honing that skill, using it for good. Because when you have a big imagination, it could be negative, it could be positive. And it was about bringing that together. Then it turned into writing my own take on a Spider-Man movie. And then I wrote 40 songs.
Wow.
And, you know, then I started writing, you know, this is what I would do for the show. And it just became storytelling, you know. And now my girlfriend writes down my joke sets so I don't forget them because I do everything in the moment, ad-libbed. And I do impressions, and she has recorded that I do 47 or 48 impressions up to this point.
Wow.
So I always do things, but I don't write it down. And so she kind of took it upon herself to say, like, hey, you know, let's write this down and let's remember these things. So, you know, I guess, you know, it's just, I've always been a storyteller, and I love doing it, and it gives me so much happiness and beauty, and I feel like you know, I get this feeling inside of me, and I've gotten it a couple times doing the show with you, where my arms or my legs, some part of me has this like feeling, this chill, but it's a good chill. And so, you know, maybe it's what you feel on the mound.
Yeah.
But in my own mound of life, I when I'm getting ready to pitch, I know it. And there's just something about, there's not a person in this world that can beat me at anything I want to do.
Yeah.
And I know that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, one more.
Man, yeah, I'm trying to think. What's your favorite piece of memorabilia?
Favorite piece of memorabilia? Huh, that's a good question. My favorite piece of memorabilia. I would have to... There's a lot of stuff. But I know that this isn't like sports memorabilia, but this was given to me. So I would have to say that this sign, Hope Makes the Impossible Possible. My mother gave me this sign when I moved into my first apartment. If you look at it really close, it actually has a pig flying on it. What people say when pigs fly. And it's about anything is possible with hope. Yeah. And so Hope Makes the Impossible Possible is literally right beneath my WakeUpCall sign. And the reason why it's there, and it's so prominent, it's the only sign that's there besides, you know, Cafe Cabal and WakeUpCall, is because when I went through some of the hardest points in my life and days where I cried every day, stressed out every day, headache every day, I would look at that sign. And I would go, you know what, Daniel, if it's meant to happen, hope will make it possible. Hope will make it possible. Nothing is impossible. And it's just one of those things that I held on to in my darkest moments. And it got me here. So I would say it's probably my fondest piece of memorabilia because my mom gave it to me when I graduated college. And I took it to every place I lived. I've taken it to my studio. And, you know, I'll take that with me everywhere I go.
Yeah.
So I would have to say that because there was a time when I lived with my grandma and took care of her where I looked at that sign every day.
Yeah.
And I really had to focus on it.
Yeah.
And then I would say the other ones are in the corner. There's a Navy hat of my grandpa Cavino, and there's a forklift, a little mini forklift of my grandpa Tortora, and those were both given to me when they passed. And my grandfathers, to this day, they passed away when I was 6. I'm 35, so almost 30 years later, I think about them every day.
Wow.
So, and I always say, like, if you're in a burning building, what would you take with you if you had to take something that was material outside of family? And I would take both of those things. So, they're a reminder to me that I'm always okay. I always have them, and I always got it. And then the hope makes the impossible possible is remembering that if God wants it to happen, it'll happen.
Wow.
So I take all that stuff with me.
Yeah.
Bryce Zicaro, myself, Dan Tortora. You can see him on the mound. You can see us together again very soon, I hope.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing a lot of great stuff. We have a lot of great conversations to have as we move forward, but I wanted to make this all about Bryce today, and I'm happy that we got to do that. So with that being said, thank you for watching and listening to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You'll find us on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, and also on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage. You can search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora to get our archive on MixLR, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts for the audio, and the video on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or searching one word Wake Up Call DT. And of course, a special thanks to our Central and Upstate New York partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Pizza Man, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, PB&J's Lunchbox, Millhouse Market, Honda City of Liverpool, and Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. If you use the promo code anywhere in the United States, or if you're picking up locally, as long as you go to maandpaspopcorn.com and use my promo code DT20, you'll get 20% off, and you see that up here every broadcast. So, with that being said, from the Cafe Kubal Studios, I'm Dan Tortora, Bryce Zicaro. We'll talk with you all soon. And as I always leave you with every single show, God bless, no stress, do your best. Talk soon.